How about them Cowboys?
Angry Cowboys Fan. Born to battle. Star on our chest means we never sell. America's team through thick and thin. When the star shines bright, that's when we win. Angry Cowboys Fan.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? And Angry Cowboys fans around the world, y'all know who it is. It's your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. And yesterday, Black Monday in the NFL was the official start of the Dallas Cowboys offseason. And I know that leaves a bad taste in a lot of Cowboys Nation's mouths, but the reality is the reality, and it's the reality that we face this year. Does that mean that we'll ever get back to the playoffs? Absolutely not, Cowboys Nation. But it's going to take this team to get on the ball ASAP and not treat this offseason like years prior. So the Dallas Cowboys, they need to do some things, Cowboys Nation. And those things I'm going to dive into. I'm going to dive into the top 5 things that the Dallas Cowboys must do this offseason in order to get this Dallas Cowboys team on the right page and be competitive for the 2026 season. So let's get into that during this Raw and Uncut. Get ready for the Angry Cowboys fans, Raw and Uncut.
I'm being keeping it real. They keep it real. That's real.
All right, Cowboys Nation, here we sit. We can't say that none of us expected the team to be where it is right now, getting ready to sit on the couch and eating our popcorn and our Reese's Peanut Butter Cups watching the playoffs from the crib. I specifically remember a number of Dallas Cowboys fans saying that the Cowboys wouldn't win over 7 games this year, and they were absolutely correct. I remember getting on the tops of some Cowboys fans when they said that we wouldn't win over 7 games, and I got mad. So where did all the anger and the rage come from when they did exactly what those fans were talking about? You know, that's the question that I got, Cowboys Nation. But when I was asked if we were going to make it to the playoffs last offseason by Sports Junkie, I couldn't give an answer, Cowboys Nation. I couldn't answer because I realized what this team was up against before even stepping foot out on the turf for the 2025 season. We were looking up at a new first-time head coach in Brian Schottenheimer, a new defensive coordinator in Matt Eberflus, and so on. We were very reactionary in our front office decision-making process as well. We basically showed ourselves and the rest of the NFL landscape what not to do during the offseason. Now, here it is, the 2026 offseason for the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys have decisions that they need to make sooner rather than later. Choices that need to be made when it comes to the top-tier talent on this team. And yes, we do have top-tier talent on this team. The lack of draft capital to spend in this upcoming draft and the glaring holes which need to be filled before the start of the 2026 NFL regular season. So the first thing that the Dallas Cowboys need to address, in my eyes, is the defensive coordinator position. Throughout the entirety of the 2025 NFL season, Cowboys fans continue to ask the question, is it the scheme or is it the players on the team? The more I thought about it, the more I came to the conclusion that it's not the players on the team, Cowboys Nation. It was the scheme. It was the direction, the tutelage, and the coaching of Matt Eberflus. There was not a single game during the regular season where the defense of the Dallas Cowboys looked prepared. There was not one game where the defense came out there and they looked disciplined. I bet you that we could go back and watch every single game from the Dallas Cowboys, and you'll see the confusion out on the field. You'll see the confusion on the defensive side of the ball, and that's pre-snap, Cowboys Nation. You'll see blown coverages more often than not. You'll see missed tackles and a true lack of fundamentals out there on the Dallas Cowboys defense. To me, that's a lack of being coached up rather than a lack of skill from the players on the team. So with that being said, Cowboys Nation, the first order of business for the Dallas Cowboys is to fire their defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, and conduct a true coaching search. A search that takes the head coach's desires into consideration, not just another plant from Jerry and Stephen Jones, a defensive coordinator that is respected and revered around the league, as well as respected and revered by Brian Schottenheimer. A defensive coordinator that can turn lemons into lemonade. A defensive coordinator that embodies Jerry and Stephen's desire for flexibility. One that can be multiple, developing schemes and disguises with the players that he has available to him. One that truly knows how to play chess and not checkers. But the second thing that the Dallas Cowboys need to do is make a decision on George Pickens and the offensive weapons that we have on this Dallas Cowboys team. That means players like George Pickens, Javonte Williams, and Brandon Aubrey. Let's keep it a buck, Cowboys Nation. George Pickens is a Dallas Cowboy. In his swag, in his demeanor, in his presence, George Pickens is a Dallas Cowboy. I've seen people float the franchise tag around when it comes to George Pickens, and I absolutely hate it, Cowboys Nation. The one man that prides himself on making deals and getting the deals done needs to secure the deal with George Pickens without using the franchise tag. Sure, it would keep GP3 on the team, but it would balloon the salary cap and would cause Jerry and Stephen Jones to do the typical thing that they always do, and that's fill the holes with bargain bin players instead of getting the right players for the right positions. Getting his deal done would give them the flexibility to manipulate the structure of his contract so that they could add more quality pieces to this team for 2026. And we all know that David Mulugeta is going to instruct his client to go out there and ask for top dollar, and quite frankly, the brother deserves it. I'm not suggesting that Jerry and Stephen Jones go into negotiations with a blank check, but I do want them to go in there with the realistic expectation that George Pickens wants top dollar for his services. Go into the negotiations prepared instead of being hit from left field. Signing George Pickens would continue to help the Dallas Cowboys offense to remain top 5 in the league. So Jerry, Stephen, make it so. The third thing the Dallas Cowboys organization needs to address with urgency during the offseason is attacking free agency the moment that it opens up. Every single Dallas Cowboys fan knows that Jerry and Stephen Jones has a knack for waiting to act. Bars. They wait to make moves, and by the time that they make moves, the quality players are off the board, which leaves them choosing from the bottom of the barrel, Cowboys Nation. It leaves them picking players that are one step away from retirement or being excommunicated from the league altogether. Those are not the type of players that are going to help this organization win a championship, Cowboys Nation. This team needs hungry players, dogs that'll take the opportunity and run with it. Players the likes of Jadeveon Clowney. The brother was called when he was just sitting on the couch, when he was eating his popcorn and Reese's. He got to the Dallas Cowboys and he started putting in that work. He started putting in that effort. Is he a 15 sack a season type of guy? No, Cowboys Nation, but he is a disruptive edge rusher that can continue to get pressure on the quarterback. He's a player that truly wants to win. He has that appetite, that desire, and that hunger to help his team win. It's not about him. It's about them. That's the type of player I want on this Dallas Cowboys team moving forward. Was he a bank-breaking player? No, Cowboys Nation, he wasn't. Is he a bit on the older side? Yes, but he has the heart to want to be great and see the next man to him want to be great as well. I want to see more of that coming in this offseason, Cowboys Nation. And the fourth thing that we need to do this offseason is study the tapes from the 2025 season. Take from the film what we did great and discard all the stuff that we did poorly. We know which teams that we'll have to face in the 2026 season. Y'all have time to watch each and every game played against those teams. Find out what their weaknesses are and continue to come up with ways on how to beat them. Find out what their tendencies are. See what those teams like to do and find an answer for it. The Dallas Cowboys face the NFC West in 2026, so we'll be facing off with the likes of the Los Angeles Rams, the Arizona Cardinals, the Seattle Seahawks, and the San Francisco 49ers. We have been the 49ers bitch for the last half decade, so we have to find ways to out-scheme Kyle Shanahan and any coach from the Shanahan coaching tree. We also have to face Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers. There's no time like the present to start figuring out ways to beat them. Shit, it's not like we have a game to get ready for or anything, Cowboys Nation. Getting ahead of the curve and preparing for those teams is the thing to do. Prepare for that schedule. There's no excuse for the Dallas Cowboys being underprepared for that schedule moving forward. The NFL puts their opponents up early enough to get the jump on them. And the final thing, the fifth thing that the Dallas Cowboys need to do this offseason, sooner rather than later, is to attack the 2026 NFL draft with urgency. This year, the Dallas Cowboys don't have too much draft capital to experiment with. In drafts prior, the Dallas Cowboys would draft players that could be project players or players that have a huge learning curve entering the NFL, as well as players that are currently fighting their way back from injury. We can't afford to do that this year, Cowboys Nation. The 2 first-round picks need to be day one starters for the Dallas Cowboys defense, whether it's edge rusher or safety, linebacker or cornerback. The defense needs pieces to be able to match this offense's intensity for the 2026 season. That's if the offense can stay carrying their intensity over into the 2026 season. So I'm really going to hold Will McClay's feet to the fire this upcoming draft. The scouting department really needs to nail this draft with the limited amount of resources that we got, Cowboys Nation. Me, personally, I believe this team's missing a premier pass rusher. And I know what some people are going to say. Well, you had a premier pass rusher, but you traded him to the Green Bay Packers. Well, I'd respond with this. I want a premier pass rusher that is a team player and not an influencer in the locker room. That's not a dig, no pun intended, at his podcast, but y'all know how I feel about Micah Parsons and how negatively he influenced players in that locker room when he was here. I want an edge rusher that can generate 8 to 10 sacks a season, but continuously generate pressure on the quarterback in the league and be a positive role model for the ones that are on the depth chart. This is why I'm willing to give up one of those first-round draft picks for Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson. A pass rusher of this magnitude will instantly make your cornerbacks better. The defensive tackles that we got on this team can help your linebackers get better. That's if you decide to move on from the linebackers that showed you their NFL IQ this year and give chances to the young and hungry linebackers that are on this team that barely saw the field. Maurice Leofau comes to mind. But overall, Cowboys Nation, the defense needs an overhaul during the offseason. In order for this team to be competitive, it's going to need the defense to match the intensity that the offense put out this year. The offense is going to have to be even more intense. Brian Schottenheimer's going to have to switch up things in his play calling so that we are not so predictable. The league has a year's worth of film on Brian Schottenheimer's tendencies in play calling. He's going to need to dig into his creativity, get Clayton Adams and Connor Riley more involved in the development of the plays so that the offense can move fluidly and effectively. But this offseason's really going to hinge on the aggressiveness of the front office. If we continue to see the same old from Jerry and Stephen Jones, then we're going to get the same old out on the field. If we hear of Jerry Jones being on the yacht instead of being in his office at the start of free agency, then you know the year's going to be the same thing, Cowboys Nation. Y'all know that I believe that the Super Bowl run starts in the offseason and it starts with the front office. As much as they want the players to fight for the chance to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, they're going to have to step up and give them the tools and the runway to be able to do so, Cowboys Nation. Give Brian Schottenheimer the keys to the car and allow him to drive this team. The more Jerry and Stephen Jones try to interfere in the day-to-day operations of the football team, the more of an obstacle they'll become. So, the front office has until mid-March to figure out who they want to try and acquire through free agency, because when that window opens, all 31 teams will be lining up just like it's Black Friday in the early 2000s for players that could possibly make an impact for their club. I just hope that our Dallas Cowboys are in line, waiting for their chance to change this team for the better. This has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. Cowboys Nation, what do you feel about the 5 things that I feel the Dallas Cowboys need to address with urgency this offseason? Is there something that you would add to the list, Cowboys Nation? Y'all know how we do. We always talk about it in the comment section. If you're digging this content and you want to help reach the current goal of 20,000 subscribers, drop a like on this video, share this content with anybody that you know is a Dallas Cowboys fan, and if you're on your mobile device, make sure you hype this video. Doing so will help grow the channel so that we can get Dallas Cowboys fans over here. They'll become Angry Cowboys fans, and we can represent our Dallas Cowboys together. And if you are DC for life and you want to see this team in the 2026 NFL playoffs, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified whenever I go live, release a video, podcast episode, or film breakdowns. And you can catch my Madden 26 or College Football 26 gameplay on the new channel, the Angry Cowboys Fan Gaming channel. I'll put the link to that in the description, and if y'all want to get y'all Madden on with your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan, all you gotta do is hit it in the comments section. And I know, Cowboys Nation, it's harsh for a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans, but this is the way sports works. Not one team's gonna stay on the top the entirety of your lifetime. There's ebbs and flows throughout the NFL, and there are droughts teams go through. When I say that I'm DC for life, that doesn't mean that I'm DC while we're winning. That means that I am DC for life through it all. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan, and I'm out. Dang, Angry Cowboys Fan, you done made it through the entire video. But if you want more content, you can definitely go to this video right here. Or if you want the latest episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, you can go right here. But whatever you do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but remain DC for life.